Hello everyone, welcome to today's training session. Today, we are going to cover the Real Estate Agents Act. We are going to look at who is an agent as defined by the Estate Agents Act. What are the roles and responsibilities of an agent? We are going to talk about the Estate Agents Registration Board. This is the board that is responsible for registering real estate agents. We are also going to talk about the documents that you need to provide to the Estate Agents Registration Board for them to be able to provide you with a registration, the requirements for registration. We are going to cover the fees that you should pay to be registered, and we are also going to cover the annual fees that you will be needing to pay to remain as an agent. So I hope you are going to stay throughout the session. You will find timestamps on the video so that if you're interested in just a specific session, you can jump through and read that particular session. If you need to read more details, in the YouTube description box, you will find more details around links that you can use to access the full documents. And this is one training we hold of many trainings. So if you are interested in attending future trainings, please see the link on the description for this video, and we hope to see you soon. Let's jump into it. We shall first start by describing who is a real estate agent, and we are doing this description according to the Act. The Act states that a real estate agent is anyone involved in connection with selling, mortgaging, charging, letting, management of any property, shop, house, or other building. A question that most people ask is, if you're just selling, should you be registered? Yes. If you're managing properties, should you be registered? Yes. The caretaker who is helping you manage your house, should they be registered? Yes. And if they are not registered, they should be working for a firm that is fully registered. When a real estate agent is involved in the items we've identified, what do? They help clients in determining pricing. So if you're selling a property, you are not sure about the pricing that you should charge, you approach a real estate agent who has an idea around the prices of property in the area, price movement in the area, and they are able to guide you on how to price your property appropriately. This is whether it's a rental property, or if your property is land or a different kind of property, the agent will be able to guide you in that. Real estate agents, when doing their duties, also support clients in handling paperwork. Whether it's doing searches for title deed, preparing agreement, working with lawyers, developing joint venture agreements, this is one of the biggest tasks of real estate agents, and they're able to guide their clients through. Real estate agents are also responsible for marketing properties. So you'll take properties from your client, present them to different people, tell them the price that the properties are being listed for, arrange showing for those properties, and generally handle the buying process. And if needed, real estate agents will promote listings through various media, whether it's through social media, through print advertising, digital advertising. Those are the main roles that real estate agents do. They guide clients on pricing, handle paperwork, list properties, and promote listings. And ultimately, they provide guidance. So your real estate agent, whoever you are working with, should be able to guide you on any question you may have around whether it's buying, selling, letting, or charging your property. Those are the main duties of real estate agents. Real estate agent is a profession like any other. In every profession, whether you are an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, there are various rules that apply to each profession. For real estate agents, this is governed by the Act, but there needs to be someone who is ultimately responsible for how the real estate agents act. And that's where the Estate Agents Registration Board comes in. What's the main purpose of EARB? EARB is the body that is formed by law to register, regulate real estate agents, and the main aim is to make sure that the public is protected from malpractices that could come through their dealing with the estate agent. I hope you understand, one, who is an agent by now. Secondly, what is the main role of EARB? Why should you, as a real estate agent, register with EARB? First, you should register because it's a legal requirement. The law provides that no individual shall practice as an estate agent unless he is registered. Now, this need to register applies to you whether you are an individual, you are a partnership, or a corporate organization. If you're in a partnership, the Act requires that all partners should be registered with EARB. If there are two of you in a partnership, both of you should have registered with EARB for your partnership to be considered compliant. If you are working in a company, the law requires that all directors who are involved in the Estate Agent Act, they should be registered as well. If you are 5 directors and 4 of them are involved in real estate, so all the 4 directors should be registered with the board. And now we need to go to the process of registration. Before you register, there are few requirements that you should meet. The first requirement is you need to be a Kenyan citizen. The Estate Agents Act, it's a Kenyan law. So for it to apply to you, first you need to be a Kenyan citizen. Secondly, you need to be a member of the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya. You may also be registered if you can show the board that you are a corporate member of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors and your membership is still up to date. Fourthly, if you are a holder of a degree, diploma, or license from a university, college, or school that is recognized by the time of your application by the board. And next, if you have been able to show the board that you have post-qualification experience and practice of not less than 2 years, which not less than 6 months have been in Kenya. Item number 6 is that you have to show the board that you have been working for not less than 2 years with another registered real estate agent. So you need not just show that you've been working in the real estate industry, you have to show the board that you have been working for 2 years with a registered real estate agent. Because what happens if you just tell the board that you've been working in real estate but not with a registered person? It's like you are telling the board, I've been working illegally. Now go ahead and register me. So that's very important that the person who is saying you have worked with them, they need to be registered with the board as well. The last item that the board considers is if you don't have the items number 1 to 5. You may not be a Kenyan citizen, you may not be a surveyor, you may not have a degree or a diploma. Does that lock you out from becoming a real estate agent? No. You can still become a real estate agent if you're able to show the board that you are a person of good character, if you've never been convicted, whether in Kenya or anywhere else, for an offense that involves fraud or dishonesty. So I hope that is clear for people who are wondering if they don't have a degree or a diploma, can they still become real estate agent? Looking at the items I've listed above, the board does not specify the kind of degree, diploma that you may have. It doesn't necessarily require you to have a degree in real estate or a diploma in real estate. While that would help in your application because you are able to show you have experience in real estate, it's not a requirement of the board for you to show that you have a degree in areas related to land, like land economics. This is not to mean you shouldn't take additional certification in real estate. This is just to try and clarify that that is not a requirement of the board. Next, we are going to cover the documents that you require to be able to submit your application to the board. These are the attachments that are mandatory. While you could provide anything additional that supports your need to be registered, your application must at least have these items. First is a recent passport size photograph. This will help the board identify you. Secondly, it's your national identity card or passport. Next, it's your CV. This CV should be identifying the kind of experience that you have. Remember, we said you must have worked for 2 years and a registered real estate agent. This should clearly come out in your CV. Next is educational certificates. Remember we had said that if you have a degree or a diploma, it will add your claim when sending your application to the board for registration. Next is a letter of recommendation from a registered and practicing estate agent. Anyone recommending you and writing a letter should make sure that 1, they are registered, And secondly, they have renewed their annual license. The cost of the annual license will be discussed later. You shall also need to provide a certificate of good conduct. Remember, we had said that for you to be registered, you have to be a person of good character. So you need to just go to the DCI, apply for your certificate of good conduct before submitting your application to the board. Once you have these first 6 documents in place, you will need to provide an application form. So this is a form where you will be completing some of the information that is already contained in the documents that we had identified. Once you fill the form, you will pay a non-refundable application fee of 1,000 shillings. In the box description of this video, I have put a blog. So this blog, we usually update it with newer information. If the application fee changes from 1,000, please read on the blog before applying, and we shall have updated the blog with new information around the application fee. When you pay this application fee, you provide the documents to EARB. EARB will review the documents, and if they are satisfied that you qualify to be registered as a real estate agent, they will call you for an interview. Now, this interview seeks to find your understanding of the regulations that apply to real estate profession and to just verify some of the information that you have put in your application. When going for the board interview, there are some few areas you can try and cover. Some of these include understanding this Estate Agents Act, CA 533 that we are going through now, the Land Act of 2012, Rent Restriction Act, Landlords and Tenants Act, some parts of the Constitution. But beyond this, you need to be well versed in what's happening in the industry because the questions from the board will vary. It's hard to anticipate the questions that you'll be asked, but the interview is usually a chance for you to show the board that you are really qualified, you are who you say you are, and the board now certifies you as a registered real estate agent. Now, this is the second part where you will be able to add an additional cost. Remember, we said there is 1,000 that you submit with your papers. Now, for you to be called for an interview, you will need to pay the 3,000 shillings. Now, the questions that are asked by the board are many during the interview process. I've seen colleagues go to the interview process pass. I have seen colleagues go for the interview process and did not pass the interview. Because there is a group that we are in that has registered real estate agents. If you need to register, we can always link you with someone who has attended the interview with the board, and they're able to guide you on what they went through, the questions they were asked, how they approached it, so that you can make sure that your process is successful. In the body of the description, there is a link that is indicated. If you need registration help, click on it, put your details, and we shall be able to get in touch with you and provide you with the support that you need. To prepare you to pass the interview, the board at times conducts a pre-registration workshop, which is a chance for you to interact with the board, ask them questions, interact with other real estate agents. Again, if there is any upcoming ones, we shall always have it in the blog. And if you have put your number as someone interested in registration, we shall be sending those links to you. The board usually conducts these interviews depending on when they get a quorum, but of late I've been seeing them being done on a quarterly basis. But if there are more agents getting registered, I'm sure the board would consider doing the registration more often. But at the time of this recording, the board has been doing most of the interviews on a quarterly basis. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't apply, put your application in, and wait for communication from the board. Now, what happens if you attend the interview and pass? If you go to the EARB and attend the interview, then you will need to register as a real estate agent. This will cost you another 10,000 shillings. So the 10,000 is in addition to the 1,000 we submitted our documents with, the 3,000 interview fee, and now this is an additional 10,000. Now, what happens if you do not pass the interview? All is not lost. You can always reapply, and the board will be able to conduct an additional interview. The 10,000 is one-off registration. You do not need to pay the 10,000 every year. You only need to pay it the first instance once you are registered. Paying 10,000 will allow EARB to add your name into the Kenya Gazette, so that you are added to the list of the existing real estate agents. In past years, EARB has been holding an induction conference for all successful agents. Now, once you are registered as a real estate agent, that is not all. You shall need to take out a license for your practice. Remember, real estate agency is a business like any other, and all businesses are required to take out a license. At the time of this recording, the license was costing 5,500. Now, once you pay the annual fee, you can open your real estate practice. You may additionally need to pay county government licenses. There was a previous judgment that once you pay for the license from EARB, you should not pay for county government licenses. While this may be the legal position, my advice is go ahead and pay for the county licenses, because most counties don't either understand that you are a real estate agent and you've already paid for your license, or they just don't care and they will harass you and your staff for not paying for the license from the county. Let's say by now you've registered, you are running your practice. What else do you need to pay for? The Act requires that you take out an indemnity insurance. This is not a request, but it's a requirement of the Act that before you start practicing, you need to take out an indemnity assurance so that you are able to guarantee compensation will be payable for any public person who is suffering monetary loss through any dishonest or professional misconduct from you. Remember, in the beginning we said that the board's primary mandate in regulating the profession is to ensure that the public is properly protected. To make sure that the public is adequately protected, the board requires that the minimum insurance that you can take, the sum assured is 200,000 shillings. So remember, I've said the sum assured is 200,000 shillings. I've not said you need to pay 200,000 shillings. Now, in most instances, I've been seeing this insurance costing around 15,000 depending on your insurance provider. So if you take the minimum insurance, that is the cost as at the time of making this video. In the beginning, we said the board's mandate is protecting members of the public. Now, some of the items that the board protects members of the public from is dishonest practices by real estate agents. Now, some dishonest practices that the board identifies is if in the process of application, you provide false or incorrect entry. Now, remember, we had identified certain qualifications that you need to become a real estate agent. Those ranges from either having a degree, a certificate, or a diploma recognized by the board. If in the process of application, you make a false statement during application, that is considered as dishonest practice by the board. So if you don't have a degree, don't go get a degree processed for you in River Road and present it to the board, because you may go to jail for that. Remember, we also said you need a letter showing that you've worked for 2 years with a registered real estate agent. If you haven't worked with a registered real estate agent, don't write your own personal letter, stamp it as an agent you know is already registered, and present it to the board. And if you are a registered estate agent, there have been practices of charging people. You give them letters indicating they've worked with you, even though they haven't, and charging a price for that letter. My request to you is, if someone hasn't worked with you for 2 years, do not write a letter for them. Because if you write a letter for them, you may be liable for a fine or for a jail term. Other dishonest practices includes knowingly making a statement which is false. Even when you are attending the board interview and you make a statement that is false or make a forceful claim and you know it's false, that is a dishonest practice and you can be jailed for a term not exceeding 3 years, or you may be fined. Let's say the board is happy, you've passed the interview, your documents check out, and you've been entered into the Kenya Gazette as a registered real estate agent. Can your name be removed from the register of real estate agents? The answer is yes. And here are the instances that can lead to you getting removed from the register. And in the link description, I will also put the link to an updated register of real estate agents, just in case you are a member of the public and you want to check if a particular real estate agent is registered. 1, if you die, you will definitely be removed from the list if you don't pay the renewal or registration fee. Remember, I had said once you pass the EARB interview, you will need to pay for a registration fee. So if you don't pay that fee, then you will be removed from the register. If you don't pay the annual renewal fee, you will be removed from the register as well. If you ask the board to remove your name from the register, the board has no option but to remove your name from the register. Again, the purpose of the board is to ensure that real estate agents operate in the straight and narrow. So if you are convicted for an offense in this act, you will be removed from the register. If you lied during the application process and the board finds out that either what you said was incorrect, in addition to the fine that I had spoken of, the board may remove your name from the register of real estate agents. Remember, we had said for registration, you need to be a member of Institute of Surveyors of Kenya. So if you are no longer a member of the institute and that is what you had relied on, the board can remove your name from the register of real estate agents. Now, let's take an instance where you've been aggrieved by an action of the board. Either the board has refused to register your name, they've removed your name from the register, they have suspended your registration, or they have refused to restore your name in the register. You may, within 28 days of receiving the decision of the board, appeal to the High Court against the decision of the board. This is a good thing. The decision of the board is not final, and you can always appeal to the High Court to have the decision of the board reviewed. So that's it for training, where we've talked about identifying who a real estate agent is, what's the board, the functions of the board, the process of registration, the documents that you need for registration. If you have any questions, remember, put them in the comment box. We have several links and you can reach out to us directly if you have any question.